Hey guys, it's 258. Welcome back to another Herd Instincts chapter. God, man, I miss these guys. Not really. I don't know. Let's see if I miss these guys or not. Anyways, I'm realizing that I've been stuck in this niche. I mean, I probably will try to write it out. Like I said, like before, I have like 200 stories. I didn't do the one that I said I was gonna do on the last MLP thing because like I think that one was gonna be with Red Heart and the guy was gonna hurt himself, and I'm like, I don't want that. And I don't want to read that because I feel like I'll cringe. I just want it to be like a natural thing like this one. Anyways, I'm probably gonna upload like lazily again, meaning I'm just gonna read and just put the cover photo and that's it, and the thumbnail and all that, and just upload it. Of course, it's been like 4 hours, 4.5 hours, and you guys are already at 190 views. And I'm like, yeah, of course, you guys, because you know that you guys are subs for this sort of content. And at the same time, I'm like, I don't mind making it, but I feel like I'm stuck in a niche that I can't escape, you know? And since right now it's like one of the things that helps me with like it doesn't help me too much like normal like 100k to 1 million YouTube. It's also me like a little bit from time to time when I just keep uploading. Of course, I probably make $50 a month just by doing this, since I'm too lazy to make actual content, I guess. I'm not sure if this counts as content for you guys, because I don't think it counts. I need to be like, I want to enjoy it, but I feel like I already burned myself out on doing the gaming stuff and doing everything else on YouTube. I don't know what to do anymore. And this is like one thing, like if I'm enjoying the story, I can have fun with it, and you guys can enjoy me on the entertainment side. So anyways, let's just hop right into it before I get so annoyed of myself saying this. Anyways, Chapter 2. Last time, Citrus came back, luckily enough, and, admitted her feelings, which is nice. Anyways, let's hop right into it. I think I'm falling in love with you, Citrus Blish says softly. She looks at him snuggled under the covers in his bed. He freezes and she moves a little closer to him, her heart pounding a staccato rhythm in her chest. Does he feel the same way? Would he blow her off? You are what now? He says, not understanding what he just heard. She snuggles closer to him, enjoying his warmth. She brings her face closer, nearly touching his. He tries to smile. You're falling for ugly little old me? What is it, my lack of fur? Aw, he's cute. She's able to giggle over her nerves. No, silly eye. She searches for the words. Well, you're just... Her eyes gaze into his. Fun. She brings her muzzle forward and rubs her nose against his. He smiles and blows very softly into her face. She gasps and she turns her head to the side a little and plants her lips firmly on his. Her tongue flicks out and teases against his lips. She feels him go slack, and she takes the opportunity to invade his mouth with her tongue. She moans as she leans more into him. After time immeasurable, he brings up both hands and places them gently on her cheeks and pushes her away, getting a squeak from her in response as she opens her eyes to look into his. Citrus? He asks softly. She shudders a bit, looking at him. Tim, she pants. He looks down. I'm sorry, but I'm more confused than ever. You aren't messing with me. You're falling in love with me? She blushes and looks down. After a few moments, she nods. But how? I mean, alien to you. Her lower lip trembles. I know, but when I was brought in, you were in such pain, and yet with all that we were doing to help, it caused you more pain, and yet through all of that, you never were mean. You never did anything to hurt the ponies helping you. She lays down on the bed, and when you finally healed, you've always been good to talk to. You are smart, compassionate. You truly listen when I talk to you. She moves a little closer, and it helps that you smell nice. He furrows his brow, lifting up an arm to check his smell. He took a shower today, but the ponies have nothing like the deodorant he used to use at home. I smell nice? She smells a little and nods with a soft giggle. She flares her nostrils a bit and leans forward to hold him, her head on his chest. Citrus, he says. She can hear the resonation of his voice in his chest. You've been a friend to me since I woke up. I'm not that kind of person that hurts others just because. He paused for a moment. I like you. I generally do, but you do know my life before here, right? Her hope starts to fade. Your girlfriend, Karen, right? Fucking Karen. She waits for his nod. Karen isn't here right now. You sleep alone here most nights. And Tim, you need to know, if the princess can't send you back, you need a family here. You need a herd to protect you, to provide you warmth and togetherness, and the friendship and love you desperately need. He falls quiet for a long time, his arms around her. She can feel the strength in those arms as he holds her. Those arms that would never hurt her. Her nose flares. She relishes the smell. She finds her tail thumping on the bed. What's the tail for? She murmurs softly. I'm happy. She loves the feeling of his arms around her, but she needs to know. Finally, she lifts her head and looks again into his eyes. So? She finds her confidence fading. She lowers her eyes as she traces the hoof on his chest. gently. Do you like me? She asks, pricking her ears, her heart deciding to accelerate again. He hugs her close. Of course I like you, Citrus. She narrows her eyes. You know what I mean. I'm not just talking about like a friend. He tries to smile, but it doesn't seem to fit right. He finally puts a single finger on her nose. I'm going to have to be honest with you, Citrus. I don't know. She feels tears roll in her eyes. Oh, she says softly, then she starts to pull away from him. I'm so sorry. She stands up on the bed and moves towards the edge. She sits down at the very edge and moans softly. I'm such a fool. She looks down and closes her eyes, a single tear dampening her fur as it slides down her cheek. Now hold on there, comes his voice behind her. She feels the bed move as he shifts, and his arms reach around her with a strong pull and a squeak from her. He pulls her onto him, laying back and putting her head onto his chest so she can see his face easily. She squirms a little bit, and he hugs her tighter. She grasps at the strength in his arms and looks at him. He's smiling softly at her, which causes her to furrow her brow in response to her inquisitive look. He brings up a hand and cups her cheek. Citrus, the entire time I've been here, I've known you, the princesses and the guards. That's pretty much it. I had no idea. He looks at her seriously. No idea at all that you were interested in me in any romantic fashion. It's her turn to look confused. Tim, I've got to be pretty obvious if Princess Luna noticed it. I wasn't aware of it until she said that earlier. In response to his added confusion, when she suggested that I be a leader mirror to you, a young stallion into her, she was talking romantic feelings. She looks down, her cheeks reddening slightly. I hadn't consciously considered it because you hadn't shown any interest, I guess. Any interest? She shrugs. You know, your body language is completely confusing. You haven't nipped an ear. I know you can't make all the sounds we do, and you interact with the world differently than we do. You use those hands of yours when we use our muzzles or magic. But I would have thought you would show some sign. You never even touched my ear. The mentioned ears flick back. Then you shared your breath with me. Her blush deepens. That's a very intimate thing, Tim, and she says as she looks at him. That's why I kissed you. Wait, what does shared your breath with me? What does that entail to the kiss from earlier? He brings a hand and touches his lower lip, obviously remembering the kiss. She nuzzles into his chest. Tim, I didn't know earlier how I felt, but now I do. She reaches out a hoof and with a fetlock, she runs it down his cheek. I need to know that what you think of this. Should I hope or should I go? Oh, I love that quote. I want that on a shirt, dude. His arms and her tighten. Her arms around her tighten as if to forestall. His arms around her tighten as if to forestall her leaving. She shifts a bit to leave her back half on the bed, and her forelegs straddling his chest. She can't control her tail, which continues to thump on the mattress. She watches his face intently as he thinks, and he looks at her. This is such a new development, Citrus. Well, at least to me, humans have different customs to show affection, and yes, based on the touching with our hands, I'd never bite your ears. He reaches out a finger and runs it along the outer edge of her ear, causing her heart to once again race, and he smiles. But I can touch them, and I think you'll like that. She fights to control her breathing. Her blush comes back, very intense. She reaches over and runs a soft fetlock against his cheek. Her blush intensifies. I like that. She looks away for a moment, remembering softly, though I wouldn't mind if you nibbled on my ear. He chuckles, causing her blush to deepen. He heard that. She looks sharply at him, and he keeps his face carefully neutral. After a moment, he smiles and runs his hand along her cheek. First off, Citrus, I am fond of you. You have been a constant comfort in my life since I got here. You helped me learn a ton about how life is here, he chuckles. Even though you had to have a Pegasus come here to show me that you can land on clouds and move them around. He shakes his head. I'm still not certain how that is possible, he sighs, but back to the subject at hand. He looks down, not taking his hand off her cheek. The guards are nice, but they are distant. The princesses want to help, but their number one priority is all the ponies and their safety, so... He stops searching for the words. So I feel like a prisoner, and it hurts, to be honest. He looks into her eyes. I know this. I would be crazy right now. You have been always by my side when I needed you. I didn't know until now that you were interested in me. He falls silent. Citrus watches intently for a long while, then leans forward and nuzzles his chin softly. Ending with a soft lick, she leans back with a grin, looking at the shock on his face. She goes, So you've had some time to think about it? She wiggles a little bit, and he frowns a little bit. What if I got back to Earth and Cayanne finds out I was someone here? What would she think? Citrus perks her ears forward and giggles, getting a surprised look from Tim. Tim, you are a silly human. If we got back to Earth, we could have Cayanne join. He freezes and she could swear his heart stopped too. He shakes his head softly. You would go back with me? She cocks her head to the side. Of course, silly. Amir stays with her stallion. She knows him. If you'll have me, I'll stay with you forever. What do you mean join? Our herd, silly. We don't have herds at home. At least humans don't. She frowns. What? That's silly. How do you humans do it? I thought you were in a herd with Cayanne. Tim reaches out and puts a finger to her lips. She leans back a bit and perks her ears forward, listening intently. Well, for the most part, a man and woman will start dating, hopefully fall in love, get married, and have kids. Married, she looks down, furrowing her brow as her ears flick back and forth. Marriages are for noble ponies, and all they do is secure lines of succession between the mares and her daughters, or her daughters. I don't know. Now it's his turn to be confused, though he disregards this for the time being. He thinks about everything she's been saying, so if I understand everything correctly, you're wanting me to be with you. So if I understand everything correctly, you are wanting me to be with you in a romantic manner. She nods, and he sinks back into his pillows a bit, thinking of Cayanne furiously. She watches his face intently. Cayanne wouldn't be happy to add to us, would she? He looks down and shakes his head. She was always a bit jealous, not bad, but she kind of claimed me as hers. I like how we're talking about this person that he's probably never going to see again. And fuck Karen, dude. It's fucking Karen. Sasha smiles. I don't know how Karen's the same, but it's fucking Karen. Sasha smiles, her tail thumping more often on the bed. Fine, I'll take what I can get then. If you want to take me, if the princess can find a way to your home, that's fine. But if not, I'll stay here and hope for you to come back. Maybe you'll bring her. She smiles brightly at him. Tim brings her close into a hug. After a long time, she leans back to look at him. Tim? He looks down at her. Yeah, Citrus? You can tell what she wants before a single word is uttered due to the bright blush that starts at her cheeks and expands to her ears and down the rest of her face. I really liked kissing you. She treats his hoof on his chest softly, earlier. And you want to kiss some more? He says softly, which gets a nod from her. He thinks fiercely for a few seconds, and he decides. He brings his hands to each cheek, brings her forward. He finds his eyes closing as her lips meet, her large tongue again invading his mouth. He runs his tongue along hers for a moment. As she leans her body into the kiss, he puts a hand to her cheek. As she moans into his mouth, his other hand reaches around and starts at the base of her skull, just softly touching along her spine. His mind spins. He can feel it in every moment, every twitch, every moan. She wants him. The soft fur around her lips does little to detract, but he's finding she's pretty aggressive in the kissing department. Finally, she comes up for air. She licks her lips a couple of times. It helps you taste good too, she says, and giggles. Her horn alights, and the buttons of his nightshirt fly in random directions as she pulls it apart, getting a gasp from him. She looks at his exposed chest. You do have fur. He laughs. I've got hair on my legs too and my arms. Why are you surprised I have chest hair? She goes, no idea, but for some reason I thought you didn't have any hair there. That's why you always wear clothes. She leans down and noses the center of his breastbone. That's not all that much here. She lays her head on his chest and she looks up at him. Your heart is beating fast, she grins. He reaches down a hand and places it on her chest, getting a smile from him as he responds, yours is too. She reaches up a fetlock and runs it along the side of his cheek. You are beautiful. Huh? He looks at her for a long time. Citrus, I'm an alien to you. What makes you think I'm beautiful? Yeah, how dare you? I'm not beautiful. What are you talking about? You lied to me, aren't you? You just want to bed the alien. She raises her head and scoots forward to give him a peck on the lips. You are beautiful. Her blush comes back to me. She smiles at him. She pulls away. You are blushing, she says saucily. He reaches forward a finger to her nose. She gets up off of him, and her horn lights again. Now let's get the rest of this off you, she murmurs. He reaches up a finger and taps her horn gently, casting out the magic. She winces a bit. You should be careful with that, Tim. You could hurt a unicorn if you hit their horn too hard while they are doing magic. I know, I accidentally hit a guard's horn while he was doing magic, but he yelled at me quite a bit, so I was gentle on purpose. Her eyebrows climb as he continues. Citrus, are you serious as suggesting we have sex right now? Of course, silly. How do we even know if you're compatible if we don't try? She goes, for all I know, you might be too small for me. His eyebrows rise. Too small. She nods, nuzzling his neck. You aren't a pony for all I know. You could be enormous or tiny. I've never seen it. He finds his hands moving to cover himself. As he does, she nips his neck hard, getting a yelp from him. What was that for? He touches where she just bit. That's gonna leave a bruise. You want me? She asks coquettishly. You know that's a big step, Citrus. Having sex? She nods. Yes, an important step, she says with half-lit eyes. I know I can pleasure you. Can you pleasure me? Oh my god. What is this? I feel like they're both just intimidating each other, like, ha, ha, ha. She wants him to show what he can do. Part of his wants to just throw caution to the wind, but the rational part of his mind is hanging on by a thread. Instead, he brings her face closer to his, and this time he kisses her, finding it easier each time to not think of her as some alien, but just as a female attracted to him. He's more aggressive this time, teasing her lips and running his tongue along hers, and feeling her teeth tasting her. Finally, she pulls away, panting softly. Boy, Tim, you know how to kiss. That gets a smile from him. I've been told that before. He again puts a single finger on her nose. Citrus, among humans, it's a very big step to have sex. The intimacy, the feelings, it's all a lot to deal with. I don't want to have sex, and I have a feeling that you and I having sex is going to be amazing, but this is a new relationship. Can we take our time, work our way up to going all the way? All the way, she says slowly, her ears looking back. He nods. Yeah, and I promise I'll do everything. I know how to do to make you feel as wonderful as possible. He again runs a finger on the outside edge of an ear. Then he rubs his hand down her neck and her spine, and he ends up resting it on her cutie mark. He looks at his hand. Your mark, it's warm. She reaches her neck over and nuzzles his hand on her mark. Then she turns back and nuzzles his cheek. I think it means I found the love of my life, she says softly. Then her heart lights again, drawing the covers back as she slides under the thick duvet. She orients herself on her back, looking at him. He moves onto his side and moves closer to her, putting an arm over her chest, where she puts her forward hooves over his arm, holding him. She again nuzzles his chin, ending with a soft lick. Tim, he draws a response, and she continues, I hope not all of you humans' customs are endearing yet irritating. He laughs. No worries, Citrus. Some are even more irritating, and some are more endearing. That gets a giggle from her. I can imagine. She looks over at him. So what do your curious customs do allow if you don't want to go? She crosses her eye and sticks out her tongue from her all the way. Her face softens. What can we do? Because I really do want you. Wait, isn't it like in this, like, if you mark him, he's yours? Water break, guys. Sorry. He thinks for a moment, and many different answers flash through his head. He finally settles on the idea. Citrus, if I'm doing anything you don't like, or it doesn't feel good, let me know, but I can start with this. He brings his face forward and kisses her neck, right at the base of her shoulder, using his tongue to tease her skin. He brings his mouth away and blows on the newly moistened area. Her soft gasp gets him to run his hand slowly down her breastbone as he continues kissing her neck. You can feel that her hair gets thinner along her belly, but it's very soft. He runs his hand slowly up and down her belly, enjoying the feel of her. He raises a little on an arm so his other hand has better access to touch her. She takes the opportunity to run her tongue along his ear. She brings the very tip of his earlobe into her mouth, and she bites it far more gently this time in response. He tickles her navel. She squirms in response. Does that tickle? She blushes even more. No, it feels really good. That gets a smile from him as he graduates from tickling to rubbing more firmly. She sighs in pleasure in response. Citrus, he says softly. She opens her eyes and looks at him. I've never been with a pony, and I know you haven't been with any humans before, he chuckles of a thought. But have you been with any of your own kind? She lifts her head and licks his cheek gently, then lies her head back down again. Her blush quite prominent. She shakes her head softly, and he furrows his brow. Really? At that? She nods. I would be your first? Again, she nods. He feels a thrill of fear. I've never been anyone's first before, he breathes. She seems to sense his fear. She brings up a foreleg and wraps it around his neck, pulling him into a passionate kiss. He feels his entire body respond. After her time eternal, she pulls away slightly. It will be wonderful because I'll be with you, Tim. He finally remembers his hand on her belly and gently starts to rub lower with it. In a response, she nuzzles tighter to him, snuggling, her nuzzle against his cheek. As he moves his hand down, he finds the fur slowly thinning until his fingers are on a patch of smooth, warm skin. Breathing faster, she gives his cheek a soft nip and a sensuous lick. As his hand caresses her udder, he finds the thick bump of her teeth and gently gives it a squeeze. Squeaking, Citrus perks her head and ears a bit before half slitting her eyes and snuggling tighter. She moans softly as he traces the outline of her teeth. He moves over to kiss her, just relishing in her taste and her feel. That last little part of his mind objecting being drowned out. She's beautiful and she wants him. He throws the duvet off the bed and starts running his tongue down her neck. Listening to her pant, he moves his hand to her inner thigh, running up and down the soft skin there. He finally makes it down to her teeth. He brings a teat into his mouth, sucking it on gently. Her tail thrashes back and forth as her panting gets faster. He lets the teat slip from his lips and kisses further down, teasing her thighs. This is the first time he's seen this part of her. Her grasp as loud as he uses his fingers to gently part her lips. He brings his face close and inhales her scent. She's starting to make some very equine sounds as he continues to tease her. He traps her tail under his chest. He stretches the soft outer lips apart and blows very gently, getting her to wink fiercely, and the loud whinny escapes her mouth. Hip! Comes a voice along with a little loud thump. Tom looks up. A purple alicorn is standing there. Her wings are extended over her face. Though you can see an eye peeking through the feathers, a pile of books are on the floor next to her. He can hear her. Sorry, she's saying. He looks down at Citrus, who's trying to draw into herself. The car is on the floor, not an easy reach. He flops down on the bed between Citrus and where Twilight stands by the door. Aren't you here a little early? The end. Okay, I don't know if I can classify this as a clop, but I think I will because they were about to do it. Anyways, guys, thank you guys for watching, listening, doing like you guys do, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.